This right here is your handheld. Down here is the power button. Power the unit on. That green button you see right there on the bottom left corner, that is the power button. I'll wait for it to load. It is a Windows-based unit handheld. Now when this comes up to this screen, you do not hit any of the buttons on this screen. This is just a starter screen for you. You go down here and hit the little world with the triangle right there in the middle. That is the tremble button. It's a little one right there. And that means it's activating the tremble setting and loading it. And sometimes it takes a minute. And your tremble site controller software version 3.4.2, which is the most updated software. If you have glitches or anything of that kind, you need to contact SciTech or your superiors and let them know what's going on. Comes up to here, show every time, automatically send. You accept that. This right here gets you into your site, and we'll come back to that. This is your basic layout right here of what's going on with your controller. So you get to your controller, hit the little home key right there. It gets you a panel. You go into site, and wherever you're working at on that day, we are more than likely going to be working on the Main Street Bridge, so we're going to hit that. And then we might have to change this when we get there, seeing where the control points are on. But we will be on the south side. That's north of Bridge. We will probably be on the south of Bridge. I don't think there's a south anymore, but yeah. So we'll hit south of South Bridge. You accept it. The grade check is there already. If you have to fill the work order in, you are more than likely always grade checking. So you just plug in grade check. And now it's loading the design map for you. While this is loading, this is touchscreen, all base. You can touch it if you want. If you're not a fan of that, it does have a little pin so you can use it here if you're wearing gloves that day. Goes right back in the back of that. You always make sure the antenna is in and on and not broken. And now we have a design loaded. And now that we have design loaded, once we do load up to the guns, you'll see the measurement. We go into here, hit the home key again. We already know what the site we're on. We're not using GPS, we're using total station. You're not importing or exporting anything. Measure is standing. Go back into this. You're not staking, so you go into total station. It brings you up to 6 little points. This is how you connect to a gun. If the gun is already set up. If you're setting up a brand new gun, you go into station setup. And if you are hooking the gun up for machine control setup, then you go into that to do that. You do have to set up the gun first, but before you can put it into this. You're not rechecking the system. You shouldn't touch anything down here unless you're told. So you can exit out of this. Go to the little tremble guy. Tells you how you're measuring. You won't use a reference line. You won't use a log. The only two buttons you should use right here is measure mode and settings. Settings for your configuration bars. This is more than likely preloaded, but you're more than welcome to change it if you like. But the antenna and target height is important, always has to be there. Cut and fill always has to be there. Design elevation, it doesn't have to be there, but you can leave it on there. Information bar number 2, since there is 2 of them, this will have your eastern, your northern, and your elevation. If you do a grade stake of any kind, or you are checking a control point, you're going to need the eastern, northern, and the elevation. So now that we have all those in there, you can accept that. And when we do hook up a gun, they'll load up there. A connection. The little guy down here tells you that your measure mode is standing. You don't need to connect yet because we're not going anything like that. This right here will tell you that your handheld's at 43%. And we'll continue in a second. This is the gear that we will be using for today. This is 3 guns, 3 battery packs, 3 tripods, your rover with your legs, and your prism. This is important. If you don't have this, it will not work. So, battery pack with a cable, 3 batteries. You can check the batteries at any time by hitting that button. You can see that right there. Tells you the strength of it. It's got 3. So we know we got that. Check, make sure your gun's in there. So we have everything we need to go in the handheld. When you load the equipment, make sure the equipment is loaded properly and securely. This equipment is expensive and you don't want it thrown around, you don't want it sideways. The guns will get out of level. You want to make sure they're standing upright like that, in a row if you can. And rover always rides in the truck with you or securely in the long toolbox. Never with the prism on if you put it in the toolbox. But this can ride in the car with you. Tighten that back down. This goes in the vehicle. Make sure that you have both the shoes with you. This is a flat shoe for grade checking. This right here is a pointed shoe. The pointed shoe is for the control points so you can set up your guns. So you have to have both shoes or you can't do your job. So remember, when you come out here to set up the guns, have the pointed shoe, flat shoe, handheld, prism, battery packs for gun. Okay, now that we're out here in the real world, we're going to set up the tripod. Easiest way to set up this tripod, instead of trying to undo the legs one at a time, undo them all. Stretch out the tripod. Lock them all down. One leg forward. Other leg back. Make sure you stomp them in the ground. You don't want the tripod moving, so a good stomp is a good thing. Level the tripod out by doing it with eyesight. That looks pretty level right now. Now we have the gun. Center that in the middle. No need to crank this hand tight. This is not cranked. Don't crank it, just hand tight. on the side of this, right here, sight bubble. So you can adjust this to where you need it, to where it's level. Very, very slow. Now the bubble's in the middle of the sight. Tighten all these down. Clamp it. And tighten these down. Put a good tug on them. Flip the antenna up. Face forward. These are your adjustments too. These are for small adjustments. Very, very short. To get it completely in the center where you exactly want it. Very, very slow motions. Not big turns at all. Very small turns. Now that that's sighted, get the battery pack. These have a little tremble symbol on them. Right there, you can see the tremble symbol. These only go one way. There are two ports on the side of this. One says 12 volt and one says COM. You put it in the 12 volt. Now you can power the gun on. When this comes on, you have 10 seconds from when it starts a countdown. See the sight bubbles off? Now you adjust it again. Very, very short moment. Now the sight bubble is on point where you want it. Now you hit the exit key. Now you're going to connect. This gun is 29. That's how you figure out the number of the guns. They're on the sides. So it's 29, so we're going to go into here. You hit that, home, you hit the total station, station setup, tremble, SPS series, radio, 29, 65, accept. That says right there, 29 and 65. You want them to match. Now you see the trembles came on with the sight on it. That means you are connected to this gun now. Now you have to go in and re-level it again. You see here it's not exactly level. Very, very small movements. Good sight bubble right there. Hit accept it. Temperature outside. It's very important you change the temperature every time you set up a gun. Right now it's about 65 degrees out here. Accept it. Configuring the instrument. Arbitrary location is a new location. So we're going to do a new location. You're going to add the point. Now we're going to add the point.